And I think it's been 78 days as we count, and with Iran fostering all of the unrest over in Iraq, there's been 312 executions. If you divide that out, it's one every 6 hours. It is 4 a day, 120 a month, hence the 312 in 78 days. It's been 78 days since you were here. We have a regime in Iran that is built on sending terror throughout its own citizenry and, of course, exporting it into Iraq. How many more executions do you think is acceptable before we take the Iranian regime to task over their executing their own citizens?
I can address that from the Iran standpoint. Again, the human rights situation in Iran is quite despicable. We have seen President Rouhani and Foreign Minister Zarif talk about wanting to make inroads and improve the human rights situation, but quite frankly, we have yet to see them make any inroads in that area.
So really, I mean, we need to really be focused on this, even in our negotiations with, or I should say the administration's negotiations over relaxing the sanctions, because they don't understand, we're getting played for fools, quite frankly. I know that you're here to testify about Al-Qaeda in Iraq, so I have a question for you. The residents of Camp Liberty, are they as dangerous as Al-Qaeda?
No, certainly not.
Okay. And we promised them that, did we not, that we would protect them and that we would take care of them back during the conflict, when they were repatriated, so to speak, to the camp?
There were agreements between our kind of military commanders at the time when we moved into Iraq at Camp Ashraf. Right.
And you're aware of how many of them have paid a terrific price with their lives to live there under the agreement that we made?
I am, sir, yes.
Okay. And you're aware that they're basically having to live in graves now? We're not getting T-walls. The protection installed that they used to have, I mean, it's just unbelievable, the paper-thin walls that they're living in and the attacks that are coming from outside. You're aware of that?
Yes, sir. And as I said, I was at the camp this month and talked to the residents about what it's like to live in a trailer when colleagues of yours are being killed by rockets in trailers. It's something that many of us can recall quite
well,
vividly.
Good news and bad news. The good news is most of them, as I understand it now, are not living in trailers. The bad news is they've had to dig out a 3-foot wide by 6-foot grave, basically, and live in it to avoid the rocket attacks. How long does that have to go on? Should we not be pressing for to get them out of the country? And at best, while we're working diligently on that, should we not be getting them protection? How much longer do you estimate that going on?
As I said earlier, we need to do everything we can to get them out of the country.
Well, you were here 78 days ago. Has their situation improved?
Some more of them have been able to relocate to Albania, and we have to thank the Albanians for being very gracious for taking about 210 residents into Albania, and we wish there were more countries willing to do the same.
I'm told your comments earlier, I was late from another hearing, that you made comments that the T-walls are currently being installed?
That was the information that I received this morning.
Okay.
The T-walls would begin moving in again today or tomorrow.
Would you be interested to know that we've had cell phone communication from the residents inside the camp, and that's not the case?
All I can say, Congressman, my understanding was there was a decision made this morning to begin moving T-walls back into the camp. Whether or not that's actually started or not, I don't know, but I can assure you, based upon the information I've received, that we will follow up, and if in fact T-walls are not being moved into the camp, that will be a very serious matter, and I will follow up with you as soon as I receive the information.
How soon?
I can follow up with you in the next 48 hours to make sure that T-walls are moving back into the camp.
Okay. And is there a third-party verification? Because when the Iraqi government, I'm sorry, for me, they don't have a lot of credibility. It's almost as if the residents of Camp Liberty are the enemy and not the victims that they are. Is there a third? I mean, surely you're not saying that you're going to call them and they're going to say, of course.
No. We will talk to our colleagues at the United Nations mission in Iraq, and the deputy there, Georgie Bouston, who is at the camp regularly, and he will be able to verify with eyes on whether or not.
Well, as we watch Iraq descend, I hope you make it an extreme priority to get them out.
we will do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let me just begin by thanking Mr. McGurk for not just for your time this morning, but for your work on this issue. As you know, as you can tell, this committee is extremely concerned about the resurgence of Al-Qaeda, the impact that's going to have there in Iraq, the impact it's going to have on the region, and of course, even here to us in the United States.